Oh boy. Okay, here we go. All right. So, look, I should not like this phone. And just going off of typical review standards, when you're looking at the price to performance and the features and just the general specs, this phone comes up short in multiple categories, but I still like it. And the reason why I say I like it is because of something that we don't talk about enough when it comes to technology, and that is just the emotional connection that we can sometimes have with a particular product. And that is the case with me and this phone because I remember buying the original Razr back when I was in college, and I saved my money up and I got this phone, and it was just such a cool, unique phone, and it has a design that's really iconic. It's not a lot of phones that really have a design language that really translates well even here in 2020. And so for me, I posted on Twitter when Motorola kind of teased that they were releasing a Motorola Razr that has a foldable display. And I was really looking forward to this phone. So even though this phone has some shortcomings, I still like it personally, but I definitely can't recommend it to most people because there's a better option out right now called the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip. But I don't want it to turn this into a Z Flip versus Razr video. I'll save that for another time. But let's just talk about this phone a little bit further. So as I mentioned before, I really like the design, and it's very similar to the design that the original Razr has. And so I do like this frame, and it does have some nano coating on it. So it is going to be a little bit splash resistant. So it should be fine if you're walking in the rain or just accidentally get some water on it, but just don't throw it in the pool. And when I first picked up this phone, it did weigh more than I thought. So it has a solid feel to it. And that's the one thing that most people said when they first picked up the phone, that they really liked the weight of it. And it's just a really thin phone, as you can see here, and it looks cool unfolded, and then when you do fold it up, it still looks great. And on the back, you do have a little texture there to kind of give you a little bit of grip and just an indication of the back of the phone, which is important with the flip phone so you know which side is up. And then just talking about the main feature of this phone, and that is the foldable display. No, it doesn't have the highest resolution. It's kind of low compared to other phones, but I think it still looks good when I was watching video content back on it, and especially when I'm watching 21:9 content, because the screen is really wide. It really favors that type of content. But if you are just watching regular formatted content that you traditionally find on YouTube and other places, and you will find some substantial black bars on the side of your content, even though you can zoom in, it still can be kind of annoying. And because of the height of the screen, it can be a little bit tough to reach the top of it, but you can enable one of the many modal actions that will allow you just to swipe down at an angle, and that will minimize whatever's on your screen. And then when you're ready to go back to full screen, just tap anywhere on the blurred out area, and then boom, you're back to normal. Now, when it comes to opening and closing this phone, especially with one hand, I have gotten better with it over time, but I do wish that it did have a little cutout in the frame of the phone, similar to what you find on the MacBook Pro, for example, so I can just really get my finger in there and just confidently be able to open up the phone in one smooth motion. And like most other foldable phones, you will still find that you do have a crease going along where the hinge is underneath the display. But with this phone, you also find some little kind of ridges and things like that underneath the display above and below the hinge. So as you rub your finger up and down the phone, you just feel like little wrinkles and little things like that underneath the display, which isn't great. And then also too, you find that when you do open and close it, it does make a noise like this. And so I just haven't seen these type of imperfections from other foldable phones that I've used so far. So look, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Razr screen is going to break in 2 years, but if you were to bet me $1,500 that it would, I might take you up on that. And then also when you're using the display, sometimes when you're playing the game in landscape mode, you do find that when you are having some virtual buttons that are close to the chin of the phone at the bottom, sometimes the side of your thumb can hit that chin. And in this chin of the phone, you will find the USB-C port, and also you will find the single speaker. So no stereo speakers on this phone, but they do get loud at least. And then also you will find a fingerprint scanner that's right there on the front of the chin. And now when you do close the phone, you do have this external display, which is a pretty decent size, so you can tap and hold on notifications to get a little sneak peek at them. And then also too, you can use this display as a viewfinder for the camera. And so since it is closed, you will be using the rear facing camera, and you can do a twist gesture to be able to activate that camera, and then now you can take your selfie. And besides the volume and the power buttons being really hard to distinguish from each other because they're really small, and the volume buttons are the same kind of design as just a frame of the phone, so sometimes it's hard to kind of figure out which one you're hitting. I do like the look, the design, and feel of this phone, but when we go into the inside of the phone, that's when we start to have some issues, because I'm just going to throw the specs up here and you can look at them for yourself. You find that with the $1,500 phone, the processor is definitely lacking. It just has the Snapdragon 710 inside of it. And to be honest with you, in my day-to-day use, I didn't really find many times where I felt like the processor wasn't able to keep up with what I was doing, unless I was trying to open up the camera app and the camera app just kind of really stuttered when I was trying to get that thing open to take a photo or video. But luckily I didn't find myself wanting to open the camera app that often, because the cameras on this phone are definitely subpar compared to other flagship phones. And look, I wasn't really expecting this phone to compete with the likes of the iPhone or the Google Pixel, but you can see from this comparison with the Pixel, it is definitely a little ways behind, especially for the price point. And so look, I don't want to say that you'll never be able to take a good photo or video with this phone. It's just that it's not consistent to the point to where I would want to rely on it. So if cameras are in like the top 3 things as far as importance when it comes to your next smartphone, this phone will definitely leave you wanting more. But if you can't get past that, you will find that this is a unique phone that is only one of like 2 foldable flip phones that are out right now compared to the Z Flip. But unfortunately, this just falls short of that particular phone. So that's why I said that, look, I like it. Generally, it's not a horrible phone, but I just can't find myself recommending this over the Z Flip right now. And part of the reason why I think this phone is hurt is because of its great design. I think it is a very thin phone, but you don't have a lot of space to work around with there, because the battery is just over 2,500 milliamps. And while a lot of people find the battery life is bad, I think mostly it has to do with just the general battery size is small compared to other phones. But my expectations for what the battery was going to perform like for a 2,500 milliamp battery is right on par with what I was expecting. I don't think it performs worse or better. And I mean, look, you throw in the fact that this phone is only running Android 9. It is a Verizon exclusive, so it's kind of hard to get, especially with some issues with the launch. You know, I think this phone has somewhere to go, especially with the Razr branding. You can see that it still is a popular brand, but if they had a little more patience with this phone, I think it just could have came out a lot better. So right now, this phone is a very hard sell, but I do have hope. I think that if they still work on this technology and just try to make sure they can try to make a phone that they can get that price down, maybe somewhere around $1,000 to $1,100, and just work with the phone that has more of a body to it so they can have some more space to do some more activities. I think that Motorola has a chance, because this, again, it's not a lot of people making foldable display phones because they're very hard to do. So I give them kudos for doing this. But for right now, this Razr phone just falls short. So these are just my thoughts about the new Razr. Leave your comment down below and let me know what you think about it. But like always, I do want to thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace.